Well, we may as well just batter on with this because this ain't going to take too long.
As we travel with you far and wide, through the triumph and struggle, we're there side by side.
What's happening, Celtic family? Hope you're all doing well out there. Let's get this out the way at the beginning. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button at the bottom. It helps me grow this channel. But apart from that, let's just talk about that absolute disaster. Where do you start? Where do you start with that? It was an absolute horrendous performance from Celtic. It really was. Now, many of you can say that it was coming, and it probably was coming. If you take the final, it was end to end at the final, and we managed to find a way and we managed to get through it. But it was tight. It was tight, and it's been tight when it comes to Rangers for the last couple of games that we've had with them. So it probably was expected. What wasn't expected was the Celtic team that turned up. That Celtic team that turned up definitely isn't the Celtic team that we are used to seeing. Now, don't get me wrong, I lived through the 90s and seen some absolutely horrendous performances. That was up there with some of the most horrendous performances I've ever seen. And when you've actually got Chris Boyd, who we all know is an absolute fool of a man, who turns round through the half-time analysis and says that Celtic are well below the level, that says it all. And Celtic they were well below the level. There wasn't a player on that pitch that I would give pass marks to, bar Cameron Carter-Vickers. I thought Cameron Carter-Vickers tried everything in his power to try and help the game on. He done what he had to do. No other player on that park will get a pass mark from me. That, playing the way that we played, that is completely and utterly unacceptable. Unacceptable. And I don't even know what Brendan Rodgers says to that. I don't even know what he says to his team, because his team just absolutely did not perform to any sort of level that we are used to seeing under Brendan Rodgers. There's no point in going into it far too much, because Celtic were just absolutely woeful. Absolutely woeful from start to finish. The first half performance, you're kind of thinking, right, look, listen, we've been used to this. We've been used to coming out and maybe not performing in the first half, and then in the second half we pick it up. That didn't seem to happen. That didn't happen at all. I thought Celtic were absolutely terrible. For the first 3 to 4 minutes in the first half, I thought, okay, right, Celtic are playing not too bad here. Then it went downhill. And then it happened exactly the same thing in the second half. Exactly the same thing in the second half. We came out, first couple of minutes we were okay, and then we just totally dropped off it. Completely dropped off it. And we're not used to seeing Celtic play like that. Celtic were absolutely, I cannot say this enough, they were so far off it. It was unbelievable. Rangers, give them their due. I'm going to take my green tinted glasses off. Rangers done what they had to do. They played with that mid-block, and they're a team that came out there and looked like they wanted to win. They looked like they were the team that had to win. Celtic, it doesn't matter, it's a derby game. You always want to win these games. But Celtic didn't look like they even wanted to win it today. Rangers have obviously lost or dropped points in their last 2 games, and they know fine well how far Celtic are ahead of them. And listen, this doesn't really change anything when it comes to the league. I still have no doubt in my mind they're far too far ahead, and Celtic are going to win this league and pretty comfortable. And I believe when next time Rangers come to Celtic Park, it'll be a different story. But that doesn't take away the fact that we went there and we just looked absolutely clueless. Celtic were second to every ball. Their decision making all the way through the game, their decision making was absolutely terrible. Nicholas Kuhn, who has been our best player this season by far, who by a country mile, who has been absolutely unbelievable from the start of the season, was miles off it today. And with Alistair Johnston and Nicholas Kuhn on that right-hand side, it's something they've started. They've got a great relationship on that right-hand side, and they've been an absolute joy to watch. Today, they were completely off it. completely off it, out of ideas. Nicholas Kuhn really, really good at cutting in the inside, and he did do it a couple of times, but then just ran out of ideas and where he was going to go and what he was going to do. I just thought Celtic as a whole today were just miles away. And as I said, take the green tinted glasses off, and Rangers just were better than us today. It's as simple as that. They wanted it more. Any time they lost the ball, which didn't seem to be a lot, they'd done what they could to try and get it back, whereas Celtic just didn't bother. And the space that they gave Rangers in the middle of the park was just phenomenal. How much time they gave them on the ball in the middle of the park. And dare I say it, they won that middle of the park. And I thought that in the cup final as well. I really did. I thought Rangers won the middle of the park. And that is something that we are not used to. And it's something that over the last couple of games with Rangers anyway, we've just given them far too much respect. Far too much respect. I don't know. I'm honestly at a loss with that. I don't know what to say to it. Because if Celtic had turned up and played the football the way that they had played it and Rangers had beat us, then I could accept that a wee bit more. I cannot accept the way that Celtic played there. I cannot accept the way that Celtic played there. I don't think any Celtic supporter will ever accept that kind of performance. It was absolutely horrendous. It really was, and I can't say anything more than that. I am trying to think of things, or I'm trying to think of some positives within that game that I can talk about. There is no positives. There's absolutely no positives within that game. There's nothing I can say. Celtic were miles off the levels that we know as Celtic supporters, the level that Celtic can play to, and that was just absolutely nowhere near. And I cannot pinpoint what it would be that would make Celtic, who Celtic in December had a wee bit of up and down, but the last two games that we played there, okay, it may have been against Motherwell and St Johnstone, but we looked like we were hitting a bit of form again, and so we can't make that as an excuse that we came in, and because we've been playing well up until this point. The last two games we played really, really well, so there was not anybody who Celtic supporters and even Rangers supporters went in there thinking, this could be an absolute nightmare for them. I said it way before this. I said it in my last video that it depended on what Celtic team turned up. Now, Celtic team didn't turn up at all today. So, listen, you have to give it to Rangers. Rangers came up, they turned up, they looked like they wanted to win the game more than Celtic, and they deserved the win. If Celtic even came away with a draw there, Rangers would have been hard done by, and that kills me to say it. But they would have been hard done by, because Celtic were woeful. As I said, it's really hard to come on here and try and pick apart the game, because at the end of the day, Rangers were just better. Celtic were terrible, absolutely terrible, and Rangers turned up, and they deserved to win the game. It's as simple as that. But listen, Celtic are not going to have it all their own way all the time. They're just not. That's just, as Celtic supporters, especially over this last decade, or especially over the last 3-4 years or whatever, and we've kind of had everything all our own way, so you get used to that. Listen, as I said, I was a Celtic supporter that was born in 85 and grew up through the 90s where Rangers won it all, and that was some hard times. Listen, we're sitting 11 points clear at the top of the table. There's no way back for Rangers unless Celtic play like that over their next, 7-8 games, because it's not just Rangers that'll beat us if we play like that. Any team in the Scottish Premier League will beat us if we play that type of football. But I don't believe that we will. Listen, it's just one of these things that happen ever since over the last couple of games. Rangers have been making it tight for Celtic. But Celtic didn't do themselves any justice by going there and performing like that. That performance, if you ask all the players, or the players go back and look at that performance, they'll know that was just absolutely not acceptable. Not acceptable. As it says, you can get beat and we can get beat, but you can't get beat in that way. At the end of the day, it's just not acceptable to turn up at Ibrox and play like that, because Rangers will just do exactly what they've done. If you go to Ibrox and play like that, Rangers will exploit that. And they will make sure that they make you pay for that. And they did. It's as simple as that. They did. You can't let these things fester, and you just need to dust yourself off and get on with it. As I says, we're 11 points clear. We're sitting in a pretty comfortable situation at the top of the table. Celtic, we know, will go back. They'll look at this. They know that that's not acceptable, the way to play that. And we look forward to the rest of the season. Listen, we've still got Rangers to play twice. We've still got them another 2 times to play them, and then if we actually meet them in the Scottish Cup, we've got them another 3 times. So, listen, we'll learn from this and dust ourselves off and move on to Sunday. That's all we can do. Listen, whatever you're doing the rest of the day, please try and enjoy it. I know it's hard and it's tough and it's one of these ones, but we're not used to getting beat by Rangers. Simple as that. These guys feel this every time that we play them. And they feel like this every time we play them because we normally win or we normally find a way. Today, we couldn't find a way. And it's just as simple as that. And we get on with it. Simple as that. We get on with it and we move on. But listen, Celtic family, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sorry that I can't come on here and speak a wee bit more about it, but there's really not that much to say. Celtic were terrible, so there's not much to even break down. We just didn't perform. Listen, thank you very much for everything. Thank you very much to everybody who's subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the link below. It's free to do so. And I'll catch you on the next one. Stay safe out there and hail, hail. Take it easy.